if you're a financially successful family, you have kids who are going to be inheritors one day. This is one of the most important conversations that you can be having with them, and especially when they're coming to you about it.
Welcome back to the Family Wealth Edge. Kristen, how are you?
Doing good, Vincent. Good to be together again.
It's always great to chat with you. Today, we're talking about awkward family conversations. We love them. We have them. we deal with it both in our personal and professional lives. And two big questions seems to always be coming up in these awkward family conversations. I'm going to pose the first one to you, Kristen. The dreaded, are we rich, Mom?
People ask about this so much, right? I feel like I don't have a month that goes by without hearing someone ask this question, like, how do I handle this awkward family conversation? And I think the first question to ask yourself is, what is going on for me when my kid asks me this question? Because I think many people are afraid of the whole transparency strategy, right? So this represents like, oh gosh, they're getting in the middle. We don't really have a transparency strategy to talk about our family wealth. And so, how in the world do I answer this question? And a lot of times when you're not prepared for it. So, think the best recommendation in this moment is to take one step back, first take a breath, and then instead of launching right into your answer, ask a question back by saying, oh, that's an interesting question. What makes you ask that today? Or, what is it that happened today that made you ask that question? Because that's really helping us to gather more information about what it is that sparked this question. And it could come from such a variety of places, right? In our own family, we had one of our kids who was kind of questioned by a public school friend about why he goes to private school and whether that meant that his family was rich. So that was about, how do I interact with friends? It could be, are we rich because I, see all these homeless people in town and I wonder if we're the types of families that could be doing something to help them, right? It could be motivated by anything. And really what you want to do is answer the question under the question, but you'll never know what that is unless you give them a voice for that.
Yeah. It's like it's I'm learning with my kids, instead of saying like, how was your day? What was the best part of your day? Is a better question. So
Yes.
to your point, are we rich? Where's that coming from?
Yes.
Like
And
they could
really,
have watched a Hallmark movie with that we recently talked about, and they've been downloaded some messaging or heard something at school, and it's prompts, are we rich? Right?
yeah, and really this is I always encourage parents to be a hawk for conversations about the values that surround wealth. And really, when your kid asks you, are we rich? They're giving you an invitation to help them make sense of something related to wealth values. And so typically they don't just want us to say yes or no. That's not usually the point of why they're asking us that question. And that's not the answer that they need. The answer that they need from us is going to help them tackle whatever it is that they have on their mind. That's typically a larger dynamic than just what category do we fall in. And ultimately, we want to come alongside of them and help them to move through
Yeah.
oftentimes some matters that are more complex than whatever the 8-year-old mind can make sense of.
It's such a big question. Are we rich? Like, in what context?
Yes.
And I think that part of our work, we spend a lot of our days redefining wealth for families and for ourselves. And I think this question too is more posed from the younger ones. So it's really helping them identify for themselves what wealth is. What does it actually mean to be rich? And so that's a great, I love that. Yeah. Ask a question back versus giving an answer.
Yes. And here's some like wrong ways to approach the question that I've
Please.
heard. And like, I mean, no judgment on anyone because this is complex, right? These are awkward family conversations. But I've heard people who will respond, we're rich, you're not rich, right? This whole notion of why we? Why are you launching in with we? You literally are 8 years old and have no job and only causing spend in our household. But I think underneath of that is messaging that is typically different than what most of our families want to instill in their kids, which is a sense of psychological ownership of wealth stewardship responsibility. Many of our clients' families intend for their kids to be future inheritors. And so it's actually not accurate. It's kind of a lie to say we are rich, but you are not, actually, if you think about it, even though in this moment they are not rich, in the future they stand to be. And then I think another
And it
or
and it and it and it sh what's the word I'm looking for? It defines rich in a financial sense
Mhm.
too, right?
Yeah.
Whereas we know it's so much broader than that.
Yes, definitely. And I think another instinct then for people is to say no, which is also often for our clients not accurate either. And so then you're left with the kid going like, okay, I'm seeing some signs. I really what you've communicated is like what you're picking up on you're wrong about. And I'm shutting down this conversation. I'm not necessarily interested in opening up this conversation with you, which is also the opposite of what we
So
want
now
to
you
do.
have
Yeah.
a confused child.
Hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Following on that question is the other dreaded question that we get as parents, as coaches too, is can we, there's that word again, can we afford this? How have you handled that in your life? Some advice you give to your clients?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it comes up so much. And it's another instance of be excited. I mean, I think if we can kind of, again, just breathe through it, be excited for the fact that you get to have a conversation about wealth values. So again, saying, oh, I'm curious what makes that come to the top of your mind. Maybe it's they want to know what should I be asking for my birthday? What should I be putting on my birthday list? I don't know if we can afford a swing set for the backyard, but I sure would like to have one because my friend has one, but I don't want to be rude. Like there's kind of a beautiful value underneath of all of that. And I think especially as kids started to get into, I don't know, junior high school, there is this developmental thing that starts to happen about putting people in categories. Who are the athletic kids in my class? Who are the smart kids in math? And I think another category of that is, what we just talked about. Are we rich? And then can we afford this? And it's a little bit confusing in this. What a beautiful opportunity that you have to help your kids make sense of this. That net worth and how much people spend, two very different things. And so if you can ask that question, what brings this question top of mind for you, then they can say, well, I wonder if we can afford to go skiing on spring break because my friend, you know, whoever is doing this, and I wonder can we afford going on a ski trip? Because he's trying to figure out what makes a family able to go on a ski trip, and are we one of those families? And so if you can get underneath of, well, that's interesting because what you're spending doesn't always correlate with actually your net worth. What it correlates with is what your spending values are. And for us, we love the idea of talking with you about what the values are that we have in our family about how we spend money. And I mean, then you just opened up so much.
And I think it's what you said earlier about look for those teachable moments to have wealth value conversations about what it means to be rich in our family. And I think that there's so much coming at us, and especially the young ones with the internet and TV and the movies, that it's part of being a good, I mean, we know this as parents that to invite those moments of conversation. And to your comment earlier, if our intention is to leave some sort of financial wealth to our children, it is our responsibility to lean in on conversations in a thoughtful way and not just give the the quick answer. And it's hard, right? Like people are busy. You get these it's an awkward question. And it's one, to your point, I love the way you say it. It's an opportunity to have a deeper conversation about what is actually going on with the person, our child, our kids asking these awkward questions.
But
Any
here's what has to happen in order for a parent to be ready to do that. As a parent, you've got to do your own work and sort
zero.
out what your feelings and thoughts are about all of this. And also, dare I say, get aligned with your spouse on how you want to be replying to some of these questions. And really, to your point, Vincent, to make it a responsibility and a priority for you to make time for this. Because if you're a financially successful family, you have kids who are going to be inheritors one day, this is one of the most important conversations that you can be having with them, and especially when they're coming to you about it, to make sure that you're getting across the point, we love talking about this. And if you yourself don't know the answer to the question, when you can say yes to all of these things, anything that your kid asks for, yes, the answer is we can afford this. So when you can say yes to everything, how and why do you say no? And if you and your spouse haven't sorted that out, then that's some work that you have to do together so that when your kid comes to you and says, can we afford this? You know exactly how to respond because you're really clear about your values.
Thank you. Perfect. So when, if you can say yes to everything, when and how do you thoughtfully say no? Love it. Thanks, Kristen. This is the Family Wealth Edge talking about awkward conversations that our kids bring to us and maybe your kids too.
Not saying it's easy. Thanks, Vincent.